What's going on, Freedom Fighters? Welcome back to another Mile High Monday here on Break the Chains Media. Today is Monday, March 16th, 2026. We're coming at you from like snow yesterday to 70 degrees today here in the Mile High City. That's how it is. I know for all of my Colorado natives, this is normal for spring where we have wild swings of temperature and fluctuations. But maybe call me a little different, but I kind of wish that we got a little bit more snow. I want to see some snow on the ground. We are going to be seriously suffering come the heat from the heat of summer into the dog days of summer. We are going to be suffering. We're already I'm sure there's going to be talks about water rationing. There's you're going to be able to only water your yard every other day for 30 minutes. I guarantee you that is in our near future for Colorado for 2026, because we just haven't had any real precipitation to speak of, any winter. Winter was non-existent this year. But I'm not the weatherman. I'm just making observations, staring out my window here in the office. But either way, you're here. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff. We're going to be talking about some great things, some interesting news, some conspiracy online drama that may or may not be happening. I personally, I hold my reservations and I hold my opinions until we get into it. But apparently, BIBI Netanyahu is allegedly no longer with us. Now, we will go through some of the claims and some of the videos and some of the story, this breakdown that is kind of the leading edge of this weekend's news. I have a hard time really flushing all of that out, but we will get into that, and I'll throw you my take here in a little bit. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to touch on that, but I also have a couple things pulled up for regarding the SAVE Act, the Save America Act. We're also going to be talking about some mail-in ballot stuff, some Colorado ballot stuff, the election integrity standards, and removing of voter roll information, and the Secretary of State office, Jenna Griswold. Y'all follow the channel enough. Y'all know that I love me some Jenna Griswold. I can't get enough of Jenna Griswold. She is my favorite here in the Mile High State, the Centennial State. Jenna Griswold is the gold standard, the most prim and proper, the most top-notch, infallible, can do no wrong, Jenna Griswold. So we're going to talk about all of that, and just kind of have your, give me some takes, give me some opinions on what you think, where the needle's pushing as we come into the state assembly and the midterm primaries coming up, into the midterm election in November. What do you think? And you let me know in the comments below, in the chat below. You let me know, what do you think the outcomes are going to be for the midterms? Are we going to actually see the needle move closer to liberty and closer to freedom, and actually have a voice of the people to stand up and fight back against this creeping Marxist tyranny that's taking place in Colorado? Or has too many people already left? Have we already seen the mass exodus in Colorado, and there's no one left here to fight? Are we just, everyone decide to tuck tail and run? Everyone can call out the BS legislation and the BS policies that Colorado legislatures have been pushing down our throats for many, many years. But everyone likes to tuck tail and run, move to a different state, be disenfranchised from politics, stand back, not do anything. They get pissed off. They get pissed off when they spill their coffee, but they refuse to clean it up. And they'll just pour another cup. They'll pour another cup, cup after cup, spilling the coffee all over the computer, all over the desk, getting into the keyboards, all this stuff, and they'll keep blaming the coffee for making a mess, when in reality the whole time, they've themselves been knocking over. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad analogy, but you kind of understand where I'm coming from. Is that they don't change their behavior. They keep bitching and moaning about the same shit, but they don't get anything done. Excuse my language. I'm trying to keep it a little bit more less. We're trying to keep this family friendly here, so I'm trying not to swear. So apologize. But I'm just this is the position that we're in right now in Colorado. We're stuck here, trying to make a change and make this better, and do something to actually save this state, to bring it back from the edge of this Marxist communist takeover. And I'm sitting here with the horn of Helm Hammerhead blaring, trying to make someone, anyone, show up to stand and fight against this overt Marxist takeover that's happening, not just in Colorado, but the entire left coast, Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, Virginia. Now you see it's happening in Virginia. They're taking guns away in Virginia. But this is what I'm trying to say. I am bellowing the horn. I am standing here. Not just me. I'm not just saying it's just me. I'm saying there are many of us that have been out here, hollering and shouting and screaming, saying we need to do something. We need to get involved. We need to door knock. We need to stand on good policies. We need to stand on good platforms. Bring in real candidates with a real agenda, with a real messaging that people that are disenfranchised with not just the Democrats, but arguably aspects of the Republican Party too, especially in Colorado, because we have such weak and inept leadership in the Colorado GOP that we need something to actually move this needle forward, to rally the troops, to stand together and say, we've had enough. And that's what I'm trying to do here on Break the Chains Media. But if this is the first time hanging out with me on Break the Chains Media, you gotta smash that like button, smash the thumbs up, follow this channel, whether you're on X, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Rumble, it doesn't matter. But follow the content, be a part of the chain breakers here, be a part of the chain gang, and we can make that change. We can make the movement happen. We've got to make that dynamic shift. Follow breakthechains.media. That is the website. That is the landing page. Come check out some of my older articles. I gotta add more. I know I keep saying it, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be posting some more articles in due time. Just you watch. Just you wait and see. I got 10 things. I got 10 pans in the fryer right now, trying to balance and cook various different, whether it's jobs or cars or cleaning the house or working out, whatever it is. I'm trying to do it, and sometimes things get put on the back burner. But check out breakthechains.media. That is the website. That is the landing page. Come over here, top right corner, and check out Realm Walker Hot Sauce. You want to support the channel? You want to support this live stream? You want to support the work I do? Realm Walker Hot Sauce. You can follow them on Instagram, Realm Walker Hot Sauce, or reach out to Break the Chains Media to pick yourselves up a bottle. What better time to pick up the bottles that are handmade, home bottled here in the Mile High State, grown in my own backyard. I've got some great peppers. I've got some great opportunities for you to come check out, for you to come pick up some excellent flavors, all themed after Norse mythology. Niflheim, Midgard, they're a little bit more mild, but then you got Vanaheim, you got Helheim, you got Muspelheim, Asgard, you name it. There's flavors for everyone around here. For anyone who's traveling the 9 realms, come check out your favorite flavors of Realm Walker Hot Sauce. I've got a smoked chocolate super hot pepper, fantastic. Reach out to Realm Walker Hot Sauce to pick up your bottles. Without further ado, we're getting into it. We're making it happen. I gotta take a little sip. Gotta take a little sip, because that's what we do here. But yeah, where are we at? What do we want to see? Where we want to be. We want to talk about the back boobs. We want to talk. This is some of the older stuff. Posted these. I don't know how. I'm trying to figure it out because I posted some other stuff here. Okay, that was last day's live stream. Last week's live stream. Some Canada America stuff. We ain't gonna need to get into that. Brita Horn. Oh yeah, we should talk about the Brita Horn thing. But maybe we'll talk about Brita Horn tomorrow. But for anyone who isn't aware, GOP chair stepped down this past week. So that's something we can actually get into on its own separate video. Did not plan for that for this live stream, but tune in tomorrow for Tyranny Response Tuesday, and I can make a nice little segment about my thoughts about Brita Horn, my thoughts about the Colorado GOP, our path moving forward, what we're going to do at state assembly, what we're going to do at congressional assembly, county assembly, and everyone that's going to be vying for that position. and maybe we'll have maybe we'll have an interim GOP chair, but there's a lot of movement happening in the Colorado political front right now. But yeah, we could talk about that. We'll repost that. Banger video from Tom McDonald coming out. You got to go check that out. And folks, this is really simple. This is what I wanted. This is we're just doing the scroll, right? This is what we do. We start off with doing the scroll. But folks, it's really that simple. Government ran by cultural Marxist psychopaths make it impossible. Get involved, get active, stand up and against the creeping communist in America and in your home state. All I want to do, folks, is support my family by doing what I love while making a positive impact on the world. Right? That's really it. That's really all it comes down to. It's very simple. Very, very simple. It's all we're really asking for. But these cultural Marxists, these ideologues that want to shove gender ideology down our throat, that want to cut our children's genitals off, that want to take our guns away, that want to add progressive tax rates, they want to have open borders, they want to influx our country with millions of illegal immigrants, they want to totally dissolve and distill the population down into a multicultural democracy. And I just want to be successful and make sure my family can thrive. It's really that simple. Okay, keep moving on. We're gonna keep moving on. I'm trying to keep good track of time here, right? Kellyanne, I appreciate that. No, I understand and I agree with you. I say creeping communism because I like using alliteration. I'm like an alliteration fanboy. Like anytime I can, just somehow, some way, I just try to shoehorn in some alliteration when I have a talking point. So maybe creeping might not be the right word. Maybe it's maybe I'll do crushing communism or all-consuming communism. I don't know, but yes, I agree with you. Yes, they are goose stepping. They are speed running the communist gameplay right now. They're trying to speed run the communist end goal. And I fully hear you there. I hear you barking there, buddy. But let's keep going here. The double standards of Polis, gold standard Griswold. Actually, this might actually help our conversation for the second half of the video. What I'll do is I'll open this, and then I'll do this because it's so weird that you can't just open a post in a new tab. You have to like. Oh wait, did I move the wrong one? You have to open the profile in it. It's very confusing. But anyways, let me find it here. Yeah, more Griswold. I love post, dude. I feel like all I do, we'll call it Grizz posting. Feel like all I do is Grizz post. It bothers me a little bit, but it really shouldn't, because everything that I post, there's another thing, there's another angle, there's another lens that gold standard Griswold likes to shove down our throats and pretend that nothing's really happening. But yeah, so this is actually. This is from Denver Fails, and we'll get into this here, a little bit more. But Jenna gives all our data to third-party Soros-funded NGOs for voter roll maintenance. She sells your data to the NGOs and advertising companies, yet she's breaking federal law and the civil rights of all Coloradans by not letting the federal government review the voter rolls. Title III of the Civil Rights Act of 1960. Folks, this is the double standard. This is the broken process. Maybe I don't need to talk. If I bring it closer, I don't need to talk so loud. But I just get so fired up, and I'm watching my audio levels, so I try to keep moving it back all the time. But I also don't want to sound like shit. But sorry for swearing. I'm trying to be a good boy. Gandalf, what do you got to say to that? I'm sorry, Gandalf. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. For the ring is heavy. And it's my burden to bear, right? No. All right. But yeah, so there is this double standard. There is this lack of self, this self, it's not self-reflection. It's lack of self, I draw a blank every time. Ash in America called me out. It's not self-reflection. It's self-awareness. There it is. Sorry, brain fart. But yes, these Democrats always have a lack of self-awareness when it comes to what they're trying to. Maybe you know what? Maybe they are overly aware. Maybe they know exactly what they're doing. But that's giving them too much credit because that makes them actually cognizantly intelligent for them to actually say what they're actually doing. And I don't believe that. I truly believe that they are stupid, idiotic individuals, right? Jenna Griswold posts, Trump lawsuits about one thing, trying to get Colorado voters private information. Answer, not happening. She talks like a self-righteous, self-entitled middle school valley girl that's never once been denied anything she's ever asked. That is how she speaks. She speaks like a washed up teenage babysitter who thinks that her shit don't stink. Sorry, I swore again. God damn it! Shame, Gandalf, shame me. Sorry. But yes. I'll never stop protecting voters and defending democracy. I'm sick and tired of Griswold. Okay? Yes, when all the trails lead to Griswold, she becomes the topic. I don't like rehashing it, but I mean, every time I feel like every way I look, every time I look somewhere, it's happening again and again, you know? But yeah, so this is, like, well, hold on to that. But, and then we've got the ICE, 2 different ICE reports from Denver. But check this one out here, folks. This is from Hickenlooser. John Hickenlooser. And this is actually, CPR wrote an article about it. Maybe I should pull it up. We should actually pull up the article itself. But John Hickenlooper, screen grabbed this, and I screen grabbed him. I don't like retweeting. I don't like retweeting the leftists because I don't like getting them. The views, right? Yes, she's a spoiled, petulant brat. Absolutely. Cheers to that. Dude, round of applause. Absolutely. Fantastic. But, here it is. Colorado mail-in ballots and total Democrat control in a complete alignment. But I'm sure it's just a coincidence that Colorado has been ran into the ground by progressive leftists during the same exact time frame. Get bent, Hickenlooser. Absolutely. Totally agree. And we'll get into that in the second half of this video here. I'm just doing the timeline cleanse. You know, whiny windbag Weiser's at it again. We had the Virginia, the complete. What's happening in Virginia right now is exactly what Colorado was dealing with for the last, since 2013, since the 15 magazine assault weapon ban, the magazine ban in 2013 here in Colorado. And now we're dealing with SB 003 going into effect in August. But they're trying to do the same thing in Virginia. And hold on, I'm just trying to, let me see, because I don't like, hold on, let me see if I can turn this down. I just keep seeing myself peek. Check. Maybe that's better. That's better. Maybe that's better. Check. I think that might be a little bit better. Might be a little bit more rounded, a little bit more full, and it won't be as loud. So hopefully that will, you let me know in the chat if the audio is okay. Anyways, moving right along. So, so Virginia is suffering the same progressive gun control virus that infected the left coast, Colorado, and other liberal enclaves. Hand out as many 30s as you can. Do not comply to tyrannical gun laws and legislature who do not represent you. Absolutely. Cheers to that. And, dude, I actually have to show you this. There was one post in particular that got absolutely rolled. Let's see if I can find it. But she got bodied in the comments. Absolutely bodied. And I'm trying to, let me see if I can find it. Not this one. I have to see if I can find it because it's almost, because like, I can't remember if it was a response to a comment or maybe, let me see, this might be it. No. No. Let me see. if I can't find it, I mean, it's whatever. But no, for some reason, relevant, recent likes. I wish you can just post all. Wouldn't that be nice? But no, she absolutely got bodied. She absolutely got ratioed. She got like, she got more. She almost got more views than the actual post did, or more exposure than the post actually did, because she was saying something about she was doing the typical conversation, the typical talking point, how Second Amendment was written for militia and not for the people, and everyone in the comments were like, "We the people are the militia. We like the people make up the militia." So absolutely hilarious. Gotta love it. Gotta love these anti-gun acolytes. If I'm a gun acolyte, that in turn means that there is an anti-gun acolyte in the universe too, right? But yeah, let's check it out here. From Big Timber posting it. We all see it. We all agree with it. It's all the same thing. Jenna Griswold complaining about ICE and smoke and mirrors. Having ICE at polling places will only be effective if we get rid of mail-in ballots. Otherwise, the least secured method of voting, which is mail-in ballots, will continue to allow Jenna to cheat. Hyperinflated voter rolls and no ID. Shout out to the Big Timber Lodge, Nick Rogers, BTL, crushing it as always. But yeah, we're all in agreement. We all understand that Jenna Griswold is projecting. Every time she complains about voter fraud and voter manipulation and voter suppression and this, that, and the other, it is exactly what the Democrats operate, right? The Democrats every single time will allow any and all means and methods and operations to continue their mail-in ballots, their electronic voting, their electronic registration, their automatic registration, you name it, they'll find every single way to perpetuate their Democrat apparatus cheating machine. Wolverines! Let's go! Wolverines! Drop the hammer for the Wolverines. Let's go. Hold on. Let me see. Drop the hammer. I need to have a sound effect so I can just like, I don't know if that'll work, but hey, dropping the hammer for the Wolverines. That's what we do. That's how we do it. Represent. Nick Rogers, the Big Timber Lodge, representing the Wolverines. Shout out. Absolutely. Excellent. But yes. So I said one very simple thing. If illegals aren't voting in our elections, then ICE shouldn't be an issue, right, Jenna? Very simple. It's very simple. I'll let you stew on that for as long as you may need, right? And then this one's getting some good traction today. A lot of exposure. Great representing, showing up because look at this.
Colorado Secretary.
Oh my God, her voice. It all hurts. It hurts. But listen, I posted this earlier today. I swooped this off of her Facebook or something, but Jenna Griswold just listed off the Democrat donors, unions, and big money funding her corrupt campaign. This is not representing the people as she claims it does. These groups were captured 20 plus years ago by the Gang of Four, the Blueprint, and all of that turned Colorado into the progressive leftist dystopia that we are stuck with today. So let's just take a listen. I'm forewarning you. She's got the voice. I know you hate the voice. You hate her voice. You hate her face. You hate her eyes. Her big bulging eyes. You hate it all. But for 43 seconds, we're gonna have to deal with this. So just take a listen. We'll all bear it together, okay?
I'm Jenna Griswold, Colorado Secretary of State and candidate for Attorney General. Here's something I'm really proud of. Working people are with us. We've earned nearly every labor and union endorsement in this race. Because labor knows I'll fight for fair pay, safe workplaces, and real accountability when powerful interests try to cut corners. From educators and firefighters to electricians, carpenters, pipe fitters, janitors, service professionals, service workers, and the Teamsters, this coalition we are building is about one thing before everything else: protecting Colorado workers. When labor stands together, we win. And as your next Attorney General, I'll stand with you every single day.
Oh my gosh. Jenna, Jenna Griswold, put a sock in it. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. Look at that. Look at that pause face. Look at this woman. Absolute disgust. She's a bloatfish. As someone said in the comments earlier today, she's a bloatfish swimming around at the bottom of the lake, the bottom of the ocean. She's a bottom feeder, right? She's one of those low life, low intellect, low IQ individuals. But no, honestly, she's listing off every single. Notice the people that she listed off. Every single one of those individuals, every single one of those groups was a union, was a some sort of structured, socialized, centralized, compartmentalized system of worker rights, or defending the workers, the teachers unions, the labor unions, the pipe fitters, the Teamsters, all these people that she listed off, all of them have been profoundly and unabashedly supporting Democrat policies for a very, very long time. And they all work together. The money funnels together. The money operates together. And they source the money that comes from all these groups, all these grassroots, or the, what did she say? She said we're building a coalition. All the money that's coming from these coalitions, as she claims, helps recirculate and refund and reorganize every one of these peoples that are involved in these institutions to then fund and find more left-leaning individuals, more progressive individuals, more socialist-minded individuals to pulpit and to placate to the Democrats' long game of taking away our rights here in the state of Colorado. Yeah, it absolutely sucks. The Gang of Four, Stryker, Polis, Bridges, and Gill, absolutely need to be jailed for what they did and have done and continue to do to the citizens of Colorado. Shout out to Killam. Killam 41-171. Shout out for that. That is the absolute truth, the absolute facts, because that is the crux of it all, folks. It all comes back to that. So, Colorado switch. I guess we're just doing the mail-in ballot segment now, and we'll talk about Netanyahu at the second half of the stream. But the whole Netanyahu thing, I do have some stuff pulled up. I was going to do that first, but it's honestly just internet buzz news. Internet. Oh, look what happened. Look at this. I could care less. It's not that important to our lives. And it goes in with my ethos, right? The ethos of Break the Chains Media is to keep you informed and to keep you educated on what's happening in Colorado, on the real issues that matter here, that move the mile-high needle to freedom and liberty. And if I can help you do that, that's a win for me. So whether talking about BIBI possibly being bye-bye, that's filler. That's filler air, right? But I always have to have 3 to 4 things I want to talk about, so that way I don't, I actually have some things to talk about if I do run out of, don't have enough time to fill. Hello, Melindy. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for checking in. Rock and roll. Thanks for being in the stream. But yeah, we're just getting into it, folks. We're making it happen. This is the plan. This is the agenda. We are crushing it here on Break the Chains Media. We're having a good day today. Sun's up, guns up. Appreciate y'all being here. But here it is, folks. We're getting into it. I'm gonna move the Netanyahu stuff to the end, because we're pulling audibles. We're playing audibles here. This is what's happening. I got the Save America Act. I got some 500,000 Colorado voter records changed, folks. This is some real stuff, okay? And we'll start with this, okay? I'm going to hit that record button. We're going to hit the record button. Probably get some good sound bites. Get some good segments out of this. Got to make sure my hair is okay. Is my hair okay, folks? How should I do it? Should I let it go? Because that's my goal, right? My focus is to eventually put all this in like a nice little braid of sorts. Should I just have it flop over like that? Just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. It's nothing to worry. Hey, right now, We're not doing, this isn't beauty hour. We're just making it happen. We're doing it in real time, folks. We'll do it live. Screw it, we'll do it live. Right? That's how we are. That's how we do it here. Okay? Unfiltered, uncensored. Well, I try to, PG-13 so we can all be friendly here. We can all have a good time. But folks, let's get into it. Let's get into it. From Shiloh Marks, posted this yesterday, but this is the real information. This is the real facts, right? Colorado voted in their universal vote by mail in 2013. And ever since, the state has been moving solidly blue. Outside of a couple years, right? There was, and this is it. I get these posts. I get these Shiza posters. These Shiza posters in the comments. A lot of them are good. A lot of them are good guys commenting in here, but you get some of those trolls that just cannot and refuse to accept the fact that our voting system here in Colorado is flawed, is broken, and it's a fertile ground for fraud, interference, and abuse from many different directions in many different ways. Okay? If you haven't read Ralph Pizzulo's Stolen Elections, okay, that is largely accurate. I wouldn't say it's 100% verifiably accurate, but there are a lot of institutionalized ways that they have manipulated and affected outcomes of elections by doing various things, whether it be through voter rolls, whether it be through electronic systems, whether it be through software manipulation, whether it be from mail-in ballots or duplicate ballots or rerunning ballots. There's several dozen ways that they, when I say they, it's mostly Democrats, but it could be anyone who understands how to operate the system. And that's the truth, and that's the honest angle. Because anyone that's in that position of power, whether it be the election judges or the county clerks or the Secretary of States or the AGs or these various different municipal districts, you get enough people in on the cut, you get enough people in on the shtick, no one peeps, no one squeaks, everything's good to go. And you can fudge some numbers here and skew some numbers there, and whether it's manipulating the machines themselves or rerunning ballots, or it's simple. It's very simple to do the things that could be manipulated. And the fact is that you get enough people in the process that would allow. Why wouldn't, hear me out, why wouldn't a Democrat-leaning postman or post person, why wouldn't a Democrat-leaning post person who works in a Republican-leaning neighborhood accidentally not turn in some ballots, or accidentally misplace them somewhere? It doesn't have to be deliberate fraud, intentional fraud. There are many ways to fraud the system when we talk about election fraud, and it's not even election fraud in the colloquial term. I'm merely stating the fact that there are multiple vulnerabilities and multiple opportunities for this process, this gold standard process that Jenna Griswold touts out so much, that is infallible and impervious. We've got the Iron Dome of election processes here in Colorado, right? But yet, we still see discrepancies, we still see irregularities, we still see strange things, whether it comes to voter rolls. And that's why the DOJ is requesting and has a lawsuit against Jenna Griswold demanding the unredacted voter roll information. And we'll get into that in just a minute. From Shiloh Marks, the states with the highest percentages of mail-in voting in 2024. You got Oregon, Washington, Utah, Colorado, California, Arizona, Vermont, Indiana, and the District of Columbia. Don't consider that a state, but it is a district, sure. shouldn't even be able to vote, in my opinion. But I feel like that should be that is a federal district, and no one should be no one that resides in that should be getting to vote. I feel like all of that should be an institutionalized, federalized district. We need to give part of that back to Virginia, and figure out what needs to be done. But that's a whole nother conversation. Anyways, point is check out these numbers here, folks. We got the top five. The top five in this list have over 90% mail-in voter percentages. And I got some data, and I got some stuff. I've got some regarding, I'm actually editing a video right now regarding the mail-in ballot initiative here there was a bill that would have allowed for Coloradans to voluntarily participate in a mail-in ballot process, right? Right now in Colorado, you have two options. You either turn in your mail-in ballot, or you go to a polling location and vote in person. Okay? And the reason that we have such high turnouts, and the reason that these Democrats pulpit that mail-in ballot is the best and it's the most accessible and anyone can use it, I'm not discrediting that, because it is the ease of access, and the reason that Republicans have such a high turnout of mail-in ballots is because you use a mail-in ballot to vote. Yes. And thank you, Killam. Thank you. D.C. didn't have voting until 1964. They needed more votes for Democrats. And if you string it all together, if you get Charlie on the red line chalkboard, you string it all together, you see year over year, Democrats year over year have tried and found ways to institute a larger turnout for Democrats year over year have found and made attempts to add more and more Democrats to the voter roll bases, right? Whether that's turning DC, allowing DC to vote, right? They needed more votes. Make DC a voting district. Oh, you know what? We gotta pass the mail-in ballot initiatives, so we have more accessible opportunities for people to vote. Oh, and then suddenly we don't clean the voter rolls. We get overly abundant and bloated voter rolls. These are ways to pump these numbers, to inflate the numbers. The Democrats need a lot of numbers to make their numbers work. They need a mass amount of individuals, whether they're real. Excuse me, when I say real, I know the Democrats lose their collective minds because they make it sound like I'm saying that people don't exist and they're just printing and making up fanciful things. And this is the problem, folks. And I'm just gonna rant for a second, because I know we're weaving a thread here, but hear me out. The amount of people that I've had to waste precious moments of my day trying to discuss with them, because every single time they always come out to me, oh, you have no evidence of voter fraud. There's no evidence of voter fraud. No, voter fraud's never been a thing. Prove to me that there's voter fraud in Colorado. The voter fraud in Colorado it's all mounting, it's all circumstantial evidentiary building between Fulton County, Georgia, between Maricopa County, and the fact that we do have evidence of voter fraud here, whether it's people manipulating their mail-in ballots, whether it's the fact. Let me make a clarity on voter fraud. The term they use, the term voter fraud, trademark voter fraud, right? if it doesn't fit their description of voter fraud, they will in turn refute it and claim that it does not exist. If it does not fit the Democrats' description of what voter fraud is, they will claim that voter fraud doesn't happen. So it doesn't matter what I present to them, whether it be the multiple different people on the voter rolls, whether it be the fact that Jenna Griswold refuses to show the voter rolls, whether it's the fact that the DMV automatically registers people to vote. That in itself right there is a reason to believe that the election process and the voter rolls from the jump street are not on the up and up. Right? But if I use that as evidence, the Democrats will say, that's not evidence of fraud. Oh, bringing in 100,000 illegal immigrants over the course of the Biden administration, and then those Venezuelans and other people that came into Colorado go to the DMV to get a driver's license and they get automatically registered to vote, and they themselves have to be the ones to take them off the voter rolls? That's not fraud? Then explain to me what would be. Sorry, I'm just like, between Jenna Griswold leaking the BIOS passwords for 5 months online, between the people being caught and arrested for harvesting ballots and trying to throw them away. Okay? But no. Voter fraud doesn't exist because it doesn't fit my little small windowed world of what it means to be a quote-unquote voter fraud. If the ground is fertile, you'll throw the seeds down. If the ground is fertile enough for the seeds to grow, election fraud and voter fraud will be present. And that is all I'm trying to say, is that Colorado's gold standard is the fertile ground in which the potential for election interference and voter fraud exists. And if the people involved, whether it be the Secretary of States down to the election judges and the county clerks, if all of them from the chain of custody that should be non-existent, there should be no chain of custody. In a secure election process, the chain of custody should be me showing up to a voting booth with no information outside of my personal identifying documents, walking into the polling location, filling out a physical piece of paper, and then turning it in, folding it up, doing whatever I need to do, and then handing it to the county clerk or the election judge for them to immediately count it. It should be a one-hand transfer. Y'all know about growing up in the earlier days. Growing up, I'm sure we've had our fair share of wild and eventful nights, whether through there might have been substances involved in certain parties that might have had to have traveled over some borders to get here, and whether we're talking about some Colombia Bam Bam or some Mexican brickweed, it doesn't matter. The fact is that we always talked about how many hands did it touch. How many hands did my piece of alleged piece of incriminating material come from, right? This is all hypothetical. It's all a hypothetical. But the less hands this touches, the better quality the stuff you get, if you know what I mean. But no. It's okay for mail-in ballots. It's okay that your ballot comes from gets sent out from the election office through the mail, gets dropped off at your house, maybe passed down maybe picked up by the mailman, then it picked up by your mom, your dad, who knows what else, and then the day before the election, you fill it out yourself, you go walk it in, or I personally always walk mine in. But if you turn it in with the mail system, how many people use in the post office handle and shuttle different ballots? How many hands do our ballots touch in our gold standard system? Right? This is all I'm trying to say, folks. You ask questions, and I want answers. And this is why so many people question our gold standard process here, right? That's the real problem, right? But no, I just think that this is a behavior. This is indicative of a corrupt behavior. So let's actually pull into this other stuff here. Who's in the chat? I see some new faces here. Stankfail says Democrats also vote because they're trying to change the world. They would be protesting if they weren't voting. The right doesn't have that drive. Yes. Right. And the fact is that one of those main factors, to add to your point, is that the Democrats. This is the SAVE Act. We have to pass the SAVE Act, folks. Do I have to go into a whole tirade about why we need to pass the SAVE Act? I'll read the plain text here in a second, but it's very simple. It's very simple, very straightforward, right? But Democrats need to win elections, because if they don't win elections, they burn cities down. That's the state of affairs that we're stuck in right now, right? If Democrats don't win elections, they riot and burn cities to the ground because they didn't get their way. Okay? That's like the easiest way to explain it. If Democrats don't get their way, they destroy shit. They're like kindergartners. They're like toddlers with a tantrum, right? If they don't get their way, they destroy shit. They they burn stuff to the ground. They break things. They protest. Okay? Oh, then all the Democrats will say, but what about January 6th? What about January 6th and the insurrection? The insurrection, the most dangerous day in American history. Oh, yeah? No, that was the Fedsurrection that was instituted by the federal government to position a coup against Donald Trump, to frame him, to make it seem like he was himself staging a coup. But that's something else entirely. All right, let's get into it. I know I've been ranting for way too fucking long, but where are we at? Shout outs in the chat. Rock and roll chain breakers. Let's go. Chain breakers. Here we are. Why did nearly 500,000 Colorado voters... Wow, let me try that again. Why did nearly 500,000 Colorado voter records change after elections were certified? This coming from Heidi Ganal from the Rocky Mountain Voice. Colorado voters are constantly told to trust the system, trust the process, trust the machines, trust the results. Here's where a new complaint under the federal Help America Vote Act enters the picture. HAVA is one of the very particular. It's equally as important as the NVRA, HAVA, the HAVA Act. Unite for Freedom this is a post from Unite for Freedom, but we'll pull it up right here. Colorado changed 487,000 voter records after our elections were certified. 328,000 changes tied to 2020, 155,000 tied to 2022, and 3,000 tied to 2024. That's not routine maintenance. That's altering federal election records years later. A formal HAVA complaint has been filed under Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold. How do records change years after certification? Well, I do think it is uniquely tied to the Judicial Watch settlement that they had to do, but it is interesting that 320,000 changes were tied to 2020, the most secure election of all time, right? Very interesting indeed. Okay? It names Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold and focuses on something most voters probably never think about. What happens to election records after certification? The complaint says later participation voter records were modified nearly 500,000 times across those 3 election cycles. There's one number in the complaint that's hard to miss, 487,887. But that's the total. That's the total over 3 years, 3 cycles, right? The complaint points, we just said that. The filing lays out several alleged violations of federal election law under Title III of the Help America Vote Act. Among them are claims that Colorado failed to maintain accurate voter registration records, allowing improper removals from the statewide list, and lacks sufficient safeguards protecting computerized voter database. Brings into question Tina Peters and the persecution that Jenna Griswold instilled against her. The complaint requests formal hearing, preservation of relevant records, and production of documents explaining how these post-certification changes occurred. Importantly, the filing does not claim election fraud. Instead, it argues that Colorado's voter database practices many conflicts with federal election administration requirements. That is exactly the specific message that I'm trying to deliver here to you. Understanding that Colorado voter rolls and the Colorado voter registration process and the mail-in ballot system all together allow for a questionable and fungible opportunities for people to make their claims and to move the process of the election forward in their favor, right? Between mail-in ballots, between dirty voter rolls, between bloated voter rolls, between automatically getting people to register to vote through the DMV and other government agencies, allows for rampant voter abuse, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to show you the Judicial Watch victory. I think I've talked about the Judicial Watch victory before on the stream. So if you don't know, Judicial Watch won the settlement in 2023, which I do believe ties to this voter roll cleanup that is being addressed here with this Peter Berniger data from Colorado. Did I click on it? Yeah, I did. Yes. Yeah. This is exactly why we need the Save America Act passed. I mean, it all ties together, folks. Let's wrap it up. Let's land this plane here. I can keep ripping. When there are 500,000 votes that get changed, that is proof of fraud. Yes. K-Shoot 15. I don't know anything about Britta Horn. Was that a good thing or bad? If you tune in tomorrow, I did touch on it initially in the earlier part of the stream, but tune in tomorrow. I will have a Britta Horn segment. I will be going into what happened with Britta Horn, the past Colorado GOP history here in Colorado, understanding the dynamics of the failed policies and the weakness and the fecklessness of the Colorado GOP here in Colorado. So tomorrow, Tyranny Response Tuesday, be a part of it. Be involved with it, because I will do a full breakdown. I do think that Britta Horn is not completely innocent in her process, but at the same time, she was not totally to blame at the same time. So we'll get into all of the Colorado GOP fiasco stuff tomorrow on Tyranny Response Tuesday. But we're going to finish up here talking about the mail-in ballots and the gold standard election process, right? I was gonna rip into this article, but this here, gold standard or rigged, how secure Colorado mail-in elections really are. We can actually, there's a whole breakdown here, and I mean, this is obviously written from Independent Voter News, IVN is what it's called, IVN.us. They list several different ways of how they track it and monitor it, and everything's so secure and gold. Like this is the establishment response. A secure, transparent, and proven system, right? The absence of fraud does not mean that some voters will not have concerns over how their ballots are handled under vote-by-mail system. After all, there will always be malicious actors who try to exploit the system. But while Trump claims Colorado uses a voting system compromised by rampant fraud, the evidence suggests otherwise. Research shows that not only states elections secure, but they provide a blueprint for other states that want to expand vote by mail. Is that a double entendre that they're trying to perpetuate? Because Colorado was taken over by the Gang of Four, and you name them, you know them, and you love them. Pat Stryker, Tim Gill, Jared Polis, and I always forget the last one, Ruth Bridges. I think that's it. Let me know in the chat. But the Gang of Four came into Colorado in the early 2000s, and they had a blueprint that were to fundamentally change the landscape of Colorado for decades to come. And now what are we witnessing here today? What are we witnessing here in Colorado today but a radical, progressive, leftist-controlled legislature, an out-of-control activist judiciary, and a globalist geoengineering green energy executive branch. All three branches of government have been taken over for the better part of a decade in the state of Colorado, and all because of the Gang of Four and the blueprint. So when they say they provide a blueprint for other states that want to expand the vote-by-mail process, it immediately tells me that this is a system to which secures Democrat victories for the blueprint agenda. Maybe I'm thinking it, maybe I'm reading into it too much. Polling data shows that voters trust it. They continue to use it in high numbers. There are rare attempts at fraud, and even when fraud is attempted, those efforts are quickly detected thanks to a well-audited paper ballot system with transparent bipartisan checks, tracking, cures, and first in the nation risk-limiting audits. Oh, and the RLAs, risk-limiting audits, absolute trash. All internal investigations, all corrupt. All corrupt. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a guy yelling at the internet. Judge gives Castle Rock woman convicted of voter fraud maximum sentence. And I know this is a Republican. People are going to lose their shit because it's a Republican. Excuse me for swearing. Sorry, Gandalf. Sorry, Gandalf. I didn't mean to do it.
Shall not pass!
I promise. I won't. It's hard for me not to swear when I'm dealing with these corrupt individuals. But listen. Judge gives Castle Rock women convicted of voter fraud maximum sentence. Okay? A Douglas County judge gave a 62-year-old woman convicted voter fraud maximum sentence allowed under Colorado law, the 23rd District. Elizabeth Ann Davis was sentenced to 3 years in prison after jury last year convicted of submitting fraudulent ballots in 2022 general election. She filled out her husband and her son. Very textbook versions of voter fraud, right? But see, this is the thing. The media, the left-wing controlled media, the propaganda media in Colorado will pump out this as an example of the voter fraud that exists, using a Republican as the perpetrator, but they won't talk about the percentage shavings that happen in red counties to skew the voter numbers. They won't talk about the bloated voter rolls in several counties across the country. They won't talk about the BIOS passwords leak. They won't. That's not fraud. That's just a mistake. That's just a whoopsie daisy, right? That was a sorry, we won't do it again, we promise. That's what I'm saying. How is this the gold standard, folks? See, but this is their thing. It's the gold standard because they caught him. They caught him. They caught those sneaky little Republicans. They caught those Republicans trying to skew ballots. All right. From Reuters, here's another one. Colorado investigates alleged attempt to intercept mail-in ballots. From Reuters, October 24. Colorado authorities are investigating an incident with at least 12 mail-in ballots appear to have been intercepted before reaching voters intended to receive them, according to a statement from the state's top election official on Thursday. The intercepted ballots for the November 5th election were filed and mailed out to the county clerk in Mesa County. Another Mesa County, whoopsie daisy. It did not say whether the mark for Republican or presidential nominee Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. The apparent ballot fraud scheme was discovered after some affected voters received notifications either that their ballot has not been processed or needs to be corrected because of a discrepancy with their signature. So it all ties back to their verified system and process. Okay? And all I'm trying to tell you folks, and this is the point you need to take home with you, okay? This is the point. Where is it? This is the point that you need to take home from this clip. This is the point that you need to take home from this. Is that whether they catch individuals or they use their system to show how good our gold standard is. We're using our gold standard to catch these fraudsters. We're using our gold standard to make sure that the verified ballots are filled out the right way. All these examples that you see. Meanwhile, if you have enough people within the system that's operating the gold standard, the mafioso families, the old world families, the families of old, sitting in their ivory tower or their golden throne, they're sitting in the golden throne saying, "Hey, listen, you gotta tell something to my boy. Why don't you tell something to I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you. Listen here. We're going to do a good thing. We're going to make this right. We're going to talk about the right way to vote. You don't want to vote for the other guy, right? You want to talk about putting the right vote on the ballot. Just listen to me. We're going to do the right thing, and we're going to make sure that our system, our whole network that we have here, see that me and the boys sitting at the old Italian bakery, we're hanging out here making sure that our gold standard is good for you. And if it's the gold standard for me, then it's the gold standard for you, and you're going to like it. Whether you know it or not, you're going to like it, and it's the gold standard. And if I say it's the gold standard enough, you are going to accept that the gold standard of voting is the Jenna Griswold gold standard, right? This is the behavior that they perpetuate because they operate the machine that manipulates the votes. If you get enough people in on the take, it doesn't matter how good and how great and grandiose you claim it is, it can still be used for bad. You use the ring of power. Once you wield that ring of power, the ring of control, why wouldn't a progressive socialist who wants to take your guns away, who openly talks down to anyone voting for Trump and anyone associated with Trump or the MAGA movement, why wouldn't a Secretary of State like Jenna Griswold not want to make sure that the Democrats won every time? Why wouldn't she? Oh, because it's unbecoming of her and it's not professional for her to have that position? BS, folks. Of course someone in that position would use it for their own means. Take a look at Katie Hobbs down in Arizona. Take a look at Kathy Hochul. Gretchen Whitmer. Take a look at so many of these individuals who sit in their positions of power and they weaponize it against the people. Jenna Griswold is cut from the same communist cloth. And I am tired of denying it, and I'm tired of trying to validate the fact that this system is broken. Because it is. This system has been broken for a long time, and I'm sick and tired of trying to, quote-unquote, prove it to these lunatic leftists who say it doesn't exist. They're running around like chickens with their head cut off or ostriches shoving their head in the sand, denying that the opportunities for fraud exist in Colorado. And those willing to manipulate and those willing to use this gold standard process for their own means, to their own ends, are going to use it to make sure that the conservative base or the MAGA extremists or the insurrectionists don't get power again. You can see it happening with Jenna Griswold, and I refuse to let that wicked witch of the election rigging West get anywhere close to the Attorney General spot in the state of Colorado. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. Now I'm fired up, but obviously you understand. We can keep rattling on, but let me look at this, folks. Yeah, so I brought up two different examples of the interception of the mail-in ballots, right? I'm gonna close them out. I'm gonna wrap it up, but yeah, we're landing the plane. You know, folks, the Netanyahu thing, does it really fucking matter? Oh, sorry, Gandalf again. Sorry. Shame. Shame me. Shame on me. Okay? But look, folks, I believe the Netanyahu thing is it's fake, it's gay, it's dumb, it doesn't check out, doesn't make any sense to me. Why would they, some people think he's dead. I don't think he is. Some people think it's an AI video. I pulled up this AI video. Yeah, Netanyahu, he's sitting here speaking Hebrew. If it'll actually work. Some people think this is AI.
אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות?
Talking about the six finger.
ראית?
יפה מאוד.
לחיים.
אתה חושב של המסר לאנשים שיוצאים ומתאווררים?
לצאת להתאוורר, אבל ליד מרחב.
See, so some people thought that...
אתה חושב שלא אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת?
אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי.
Like, no, that's sorry. So a lot of people think that Netanyahu was unalived in an attack in Israel. I think that this looks insanely fake. This looks insanely ridiculous. A lot of people were coming out in defiance, saying it wasn't real. I don't know. Do we really need to get into it? I don't really, Yeah, dude, Stankville, thank you. Everything is fake and gay. Honestly, at the end of the day, I could show you any of this. Hold on, what the hell is happening? Sorry. I could show you any aspect of this video or any aspect of this report. Netanyahu a live update, fact-checking viral injured photos as AI video rumor sparks false claims about death. I don't think he's dead, folks. I don't think he's unalived. I think he's a very corrupt global politician, right? He has manipulated his position and power for a very long time, and everyone can have their own opinions on Israel and on the Israeli government and on the state of Israel and the religious context of Jews and the Judaism and the Jewish faith. Sure. Fact of the matter is that I don't think this dude died. I think it's just another roll of internet slop. And you got to cut away from that. You got to step away from that. You got to say, you know what? You know what really matters? You know what really matters? This type of stuff. This corruption that's happening at our state level. Because why are we worried about something happening 7,000 miles away when we've got communists cut from the same cloth here in America that we're sitting here completely, completely separate from, right? So with that being said, folks, I do think the Netanyahu thing's kind of just a whole little, it's all this rage bait, clickbait, engagement farming trash. I don't personally believe he was ousted. I think that, and you know what? Even if he was ousted, would that matter? Would that change anything? Would that change any direction of how Israel the political aspirations of the nation state of Israel would be? Would that really change anything? I think if anything, it would just speed it up, right? So, with that being said, folks, we are landing this plane. We are pumping the air brakes. We're coming to a close here. Past the Save Act. We can get into the Save Act tomorrow. So tomorrow, what we'll do is what we'll do on the docket tomorrow. Thank you for being here, Stankfield. Shout out. Get the gold chest. Kill him 41. Let's go. You get that gold chest too. Thanks for being here. K Shuddy. Shooty. I don't know. I always pronounce them wrong, but hey, I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for hanging out, being involved, being engaged in the chat. Share this video with your friends and family. I will be posting shorter segments of this, so you don't have to listen to all me blabbing on. Drop a couple comments down there. Repost this if you're on Rumble. Share this. Like I said, this kind of information, the local politics, the local engagement is how we move that needle forward in freedom, in liberty, and in. If we're sick and tired of seeing our nation and our state fall to this kind of authoritarian, tyrannical measures, tyrannical means. If we don't want to see gun control, if we don't want to see progressive taxes, that being said, tomorrow, Lorena Garcia is dropping some progressive, talking about progressive tax rates tomorrow at the Capitol. So someone may or may not be there. We'll see. But I thought that was interesting. We're gonna have a great St. Patrick's Day stream tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, the top of the morning to you, tip of the hat to the Irish, because we're gonna be having a great old time. I've got a big old pot of not quite gold, because Jenna Griswold's got all me gold, but I do have a pot of corned beef and cabbage that I will be cooking. So we're gonna have a good day tomorrow. Luck of the Irish. I'm gonna press some individuals regarding progressive tax rates. We are going to talk about Britta Horn and the GOP, Colorado State GOP conversation. We're going to be talking about moving into the county assembly and then into congressional and state assembly in a few weeks. So I think that'll be a good bellwether for the conversation that will be had tomorrow. And I think with that being said, what is this? I'm trying to see who else we should. Oh, really? Oh my God! Stop it! Is that real? Gross. Sorry, I just saw that some idiot was live streaming, and it threw me off. But who else would be on right now? Not them. I don't really like. Who should I raid on Rumble, folks? Who should I raid on Rumble? I mean, I can do the usual suspect. Wow. I mean, like, what does that even really matter? What does that even really matter anymore, right? Let's see here. Where are we at? We're live. Are we live? Let's find someone who we haven't rated before. It's proof. You could do. Let me see, dude. That's so gross. Salty cracker? No. We could do. Oh, should I? All right, let's do it. Sure, let's do it. We'll jump in here. Nice change of pace for all my regulars, but I think y'all will appreciate it. I think y'all like it, because more often than not, we always end up falling to the same raids. So we're gonna go to a new face. And I think you're going to appreciate it. But, folks, tune in tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Britta Horn. We're talking about Colorado GOP. We're going to talk about Colorado State and County Assemblies. We'll talk about Lorena Garcia and the progressive taxes here coming in Colorado. All things to do, Tyranny Response Tuesday. We'll talk about more about the SAVE Act. But, folks, I do appreciate you being a part of Break the Chains Media. Smash that thumbs up button. Be a part of the chain gang. Be a part of the chain breakers here. Share this with your friends and family. And, as always, fight for freedom and never give up. Enjoy rating Asmongold, because that's where we're headed. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.